we often refer to not just systems that are proportional to each other, but we encounter systems where A is proportional to some power of B. And so what does this mean? Well, this means that A is proportional to B to some power n. Consider situations where n is greater than 0. So this means that A can be written as some equation with some constant here times b to the n. C, again, is constant. And so we have a similar idea that we had before, but now we have this extra power of n. If we do some proportional reasoning on this type of relationship, if we increase b by a factor f, then a increases by the factor f to the n. So if b doubles, I'll write that as times 2. b increases by twice the amount. That means that a increases by a factor of 2 to the n, depending on what that power of n is. If b triples, we increase b by a factor of 3, then a increases, I'll use a little arrow meaning increases so I don't have to keep writing it, by a factor of 3 to the n. If we look at the ratios, we see that a over b to the n is equal to a constant, and that also means for any two sets of a's and b's, a1 over a2 is equal to b1 over b2 to the n. If I have some value a1 is equal to c b1 to the n, and a2 is equal to c b2 to the n, I can just divide these two equations. The c's cancel, and I get a1 over a2 is equal to b1 over b2 to the n power. So let's just look at a quick example. Let's consider a sphere, physicists' favorite object, the sphere. It has a radius, r, and a constant density. The mass of that object is proportional to the volume. However, volume is proportional to the radius of the sphere cubed. Therefore, the mass is proportional to the radius cubed. And so we might write that m for mass equal to some constant r to the cube. If radius doubles, that means the mass increases by times 8 to cube. If the radius triples, that means the mass goes up by 27 or 3 cube. In fact, if the radius, for example, goes up by a factor of 10, then the mass goes up by a factor of 1000 or 10 cubed. Let's just say if we had a radius is equal to 0.1 meters and a mass of 3 kilograms, if we increase the radius to 1 meter, that's by a factor of 10, then our mass, so here, if this is R1, if R2 is equal to 1 meter, then our mass 2 is 3,000 kilograms. Our radius increased by a factor of 10, our mass increased by a factor of 1,000.